Hi, welcome to Alaskan and Thailand. Today I thought I'd tell you all about my banking, what I'm doing here in my new account I just opened up the other day here in Thailand. First, I got to tell you about what happened to me the other day. You're not going to believe this. I sit down by that sign. You can see that sign written in Thai right there. That's that's a big condominium up here. But there's a pavement walkway that goes up. It's actually there's the steps in the ramp you can roll up and down. They can come down with a motorbike or something. But I was sitting there. There's a rock ledge right there, and I come here and it's nice and shady. Before I go eat dinner, I'll sit there in the evening, and it was only about 4 o'clock, sitting under the shade before I go out in the sun to go up. I walk up the beach here to go to town. Instead of walking on the main road, I just come down and walk up the beach and then go up. It's rather than walk near the cars and take the chance of getting run over. But anyway, I was sitting on this rock ledge and I heard this scratching on the concrete, and something rustled by me, and I was like, what's going on? I look up and there was a end of a giant monitor lizard dragon going over the edge of the wall in front of me, just right over 6 feet away from me. I was watching on my phone. I was watching a video on YouTube or something on my phone, and I didn't notice it. And I was surprised. I heard, and all I could see was its giant claws. It must have been, I didn't see the whole thing at once, but it was probably, from what I could see, there was probably 3 or 4 foot of it sticking out over this wall like this. And these big, huge claws scratching up over the concrete and going up into the bushes. And I jumped up and I ran over. I wanted to see it as it was running through and it was fast. It wasn't slow either. It was scrambling quickly, and it ran down this. There was a wall there up here too. It jumped up over a wall and ran down a wall into these thick thorn bushes and stuff. And I could see it barely in there, and I didn't have enough time to get a picture of it or anything. And I was sitting there looking. I could see it kind of back there, but it was disappearing. And I'd look, and here come this family of Thais over the top of the steps, and they look down, they're smiling at me, big smiles on their faces, and they kind of looked excited. I said, did you see it? And they said, yeah. I said, big, huh? And they said, yeah, big. This big, huge, I bet it was 4 foot long, man. It was big. Its tail was probably this big going over the wall, and its hind feet looked like human hands with big, huge claws on it, scratching. But anyway, that's the third one I've seen here now. I seen one by her right next to my condo, walking through the lot next door. Big dragons around here. It surprises me. Right in town here too. I see a monkey here once in a while too, so you never know what kind of creatures you'll see. But anyway, after my banking, when I left the U.S., I had 2 bank accounts. I had my with the same bank, but I have 2 bank. I had a business account and a regular account, and I just use them both, and store money in each one and get a debit card with each of those accounts. So I had those, and then I got a Wise account and a Wise debit card too, shipped out or mailed to me. I got that before I left the U.S., and then I had that. So I had 3 debit cards. In the Wise account, I had a PayPal account that I use too. You can send money overseas with a PayPal account too. If you got someone anywhere other country with a PayPal account, that works. I actually sent money to the Philippines to another PayPal account pretty cheaply too. Well, it was still the PayPal fees, but it wasn't too bad. So it's important you have several ways to get your money when you're here, in case one bank closes you down or one card is broken or you lose it or something happens to it, you'll have a backup. It's very important to have a backup to be able to get your money. So anyway, while you're here, if you can get a Thai bank too, I get my Social Security sent to my U.S. bank, and I'll continue to do that. I won't have anything sent to a Thai bank, or I wouldn't want to have anything sent to a Thai bank in that regards, like Social Security, where something could happen and screw it up. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going through a visa agency now, and they gave me the paper. They did all the paperwork for me to get a bank account. And it was a stack of papers like this. It was all in Thai. They did all the paperwork for me. I couldn't read anything. It was all written in Thai, like I say. And there was a picture. They did take a picture of me, a photo for the application, and they photoshopped a suit on me. First time I ever saw myself in a suit. I'd like to say I look kind of handsome, but nah, I look like a corpse in a coffin. But anyway, so yeah, I don't look good in a suit, in my mind anyway. So anyway, I went down and I went to the first bank and I tried, and they said no, they wouldn't do it. Foreigner, had to have been here a year. I said, ah, damn. So I went back and they said, go to the main branch. That was just an offshoot branch. And so I did. I went back and I went to the main branch and they took my paperwork and gave me a whole another stack of paperwork to fill out. And I did, filled all that out. And it wasn't, didn't wait long. Nice aircon bank. It wasn't bad at all. Sat in there and then got it. They asked if I wanted a debit card. I said, yeah, that would have been 500 baht. So that's 15 US. I paid that and got a debit card with it. So I did actually get my bank account with a debit card. And I figured, how would I ever get money to put in it? Because if I have to get money out of an ATM to put in the bank, it don't make sense, you know. But it'll be good to have an extra account just in case I ever get locked out. I will put some money in that account. In fact, I have. Just for an experiment, I thought if I could transfer from my bank to my Wise, could my Wise transfer to my account here in Thailand in my bank account? Because you can transfer directly into someone's bank account with a Wise account. I'd I'd tell you guys, get a Wise account if you can and get the debit card with it if you can, if they still make them. I had to cancel my debit card here and I really miss it. They did anyway. I really missed that. It was, they give you a top rate, exchange rate every day. So they'll give it to you the highest exchange rate there is. Good deal, man. But back to that, I had some money in that Wise account. Since they shut down my Wise card, I had no way to use it. There was like 60 bucks in there. So I did an experiment and tried to transfer 50 of it into my bank here in Thailand, and it worked. It went through. At least it went through. I can't see in my bank, but I'll check. But I'm sure it did. It says it successfully went through. So I got 50 bucks sent from my Wise, so I could actually put a big sum of money in it. Then if I wanted to, it wouldn't be too expensive. I'd still pay Wise fees, but they're not too bad. It would still be almost like an ATM fee, but I could take quite a bit out at once with the Wise. I think I have a high limit, a couple of grand maybe. I think I could do it one transfer. So that might save a lot of. And I've used the debit card they gave me. I used it a couple of times because I put in 2,500 when I opened the account, and then I put in another 50 bucks. So that's another 1,500. So yeah, I got an extra bank account now and an extra debit card, and I feel like I'm legit. I don't know if I'm gonna do anything with it. I'm just gonna keep it as an emergency money supply in case something ever happens with my bank, or God forbid, yeah, both banks go down and I can't get any money. That would really be a problem. So yeah, that's something for you guys to consider when you're sitting there and deciding on coming. One of your biggest plans will be, how many ways can you get access to your own money? And think of as many ways as you can, and try and test those ways while you're there in the US to make sure you can do that. Because you don't want to get locked out of your bank for any reason at all here. It'll be a hard time on the phone getting it all caught up and fixed again. And it's always good to have just a backup safety net of money, another bank account. You know I'm going to have to report that on my US tax and stuff. They ask that. So I ain't got no money in it anyway. So I have all these bank accounts and different ways to access my money. Now all I need is a bunch of money to have for these accounts, because I really don't. But it's good, always have. I'd say the minimum don't come with, if you don't got two ways of getting money, I wouldn't try it on a single bank account and a single debit card and a single, I wouldn't do it on that. Find another way, even if it's Western Union, open a Western Union or Remitly account, get that so you can send your money to yourself if you had to. That can work. Some people do that. So if you got no other choice, get a bank account or get a Remitly or Western Union account. Try to send someone, try to find some girl online and send her $10 or something just to see if it works. And that'll be a peace of mind for you. So yeah, those are my tips, and I'm lucked out, and I got a Thai bank account here now, so and hopefully everything's gonna swooze on through, and I'll be retired visa wise here pretty quick. Well, as you can see, it's kind of low tide again. Tide's been coming in the afternoon, late evening. It comes up all the way up to about here. So everybody's out walking on the beach out by the water. I'm going to go for a swim, of course. I'll give you a look around before I shut her down. Flock of pigeons follows that monk. Beautiful. I love this rainy season. It ain't actually raining. It's just nice. I say hi to that old lady in the morning. Danish, I think. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.